Thank you for joining me, Maria Angelova, on behalf of Authority Magazine. I have with me here today CT Dool. CT Dool is an entrepreneur, writer, engineer, and an avid traveler. And I had the opportunity to previously interview CT on the topic of self-care and mental wellness. And it was an absolutely fabulous interview, which is why we're here to do a follow-up. And CT, first of all, I'll let you introduce yourself and just tell people who you are and what has brought you to this point of your life.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Maria. Excited to be here. You gave a great introduction. I'm an entrepreneur, a writer, a blogger, an author, a traveler, everything you said. In my past life, I was an engineer when I kind of had the, 9 to 5 life. I've since then left and started a few things independently. Um, so yeah, since kind of making that transition, I've started a couple companies. So I've got a tea company and a recycling company. I've got my online community as well. You can call it a blog if you want. And then I've got a book that's in the works. Not quite sure when it's going to be available, but it's kind of moving along. So that's me. And then what brings me here, I think kind of like I talked about in our last interview, it was a number of things, right? Just kind of thinking more deeply about what I wanted, what gives me joy, passion, autonomy, what's in alignment with my core values and principles, and making a decision to leave the kind of standard, like I said, let's call it 9 to 5 life, and kind of go independent. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell who I am and what's brought me here.
So one of the things I loved about your interview, you're one of those people who has taken big steps to change your life, and it has been recent, right? The past couple of years. Talk a little bit about what caused you to make those changes and the discomfort that you had to go through with, kind of unraveling your life, the comfort of 9 to 5.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest crux. It's very comfortable and it's very accepted and kind of, I guess I'll use the word normalized in like society is this, grow up, do your thing, go to college, get your job, be quiet, just go to work, and that's very comfortable. And no one in your life is ever going to really ridicule you or critique you or say anything negative about that. So super comfortable. What I kind of decided was that comfort is not the best thing. It feels good, but it's not the best for, growth, and it's not the best for change and really experiencing life and really squeezing all the juice out of life that you can. So yeah, with me, like I used to be very fearful and scared of like new things and change. And so my whole process was start small and like find little things that I could do each day, face a tiny fear each day. And then that eventually allows you to graduate to new, kind of bigger, more daunting things like, let me leave this comfortable life I have and go try something on my own. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process there. And yeah, so I think it was a lack of passion and joy and like autonomy. Those are some of my top kind of values and feelings I kind of chase after. And then learning how to get out of the comfort zone and learning how to lean into fear and lean into those feelings of anxiety and uncertainty in order to get what you want, like giving up what you have in order to get what you want. That's kind of the summary of it.
So well said. And another thing I loved you saying is experiencing life, right? Which is so different rather than existing. At least that's the vocabulary I used. The last interview, we spoke about self-care and mental health. And you just mentioned words such as anxiety, right? When you're going through that discomfort. Talk a little bit about the importance of self-care onto your journey and what keeps you going and inspired and your cup full.
Yeah, that's a great question. Self-care is incredibly important. I think it's something that I certainly used to lack and ignore and maybe just not understand the importance of. But yeah, it's incredibly important. And I think in the last interview, I mentioned something about it's sort of, it's twofold. On one hand, you have the belief that you are worthy of being cared for by yourself, and you need to do this. It's good for you. And then on another hand, you have sort of the day-to-day habits and activities and behavior that put you in a good state and set you up to be able to perform, think, experience, connect with others. And so self-care, in my opinion, is once you have that kind of belief established that like, okay, this is important, like I'm worthy of care. What are the practices that I'm doing every day? And whether it's the ones that I mentioned, right? Like sleep, fitness, nutrients, self-love practices, putting your needs first. I think those are the ones I mentioned last time. Um, what are the practices that you're doing every day to kind of allow yourself to be cared for? Um, and so, yeah, I think honestly, just feeling good, like I chase after just feeling good. Like, I don't know if that's weird, but like I want to wake up every day just feeling physically fresh, like mentally clear and emotionally stable. If I can find myself physically good, mentally good, and emotionally good, like most days, don't get me wrong, some days are bad, still have negative emotions, bad things still happen. But if I can find myself in that state like nine out of 10 days, I know I'm, like I said, I'm going to perform better. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to think better. I'm going to make better decisions, and I'm going to connect with people better. And that kind of mix of things for me is what allows me to live a good life and be content. Um, so yeah, that maybe that's a not a great answer, but like
I
what
think
keeps
that's
me
a great
inspired.
answer.
Yeah, thank you. That's what keeps me inspired. Like that's what keeps me going. It's like because I know if I can set myself up to feel good, then I've set myself up to, interact with the world in a positive way. So that's kind of what keeps me doing it.
Great. Talk about how your world has changed since you have embraced on your changes. Has your, I call it tribe, has your community changed since you have embraced stepping out of the comfort zone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the people around you are so important, right? Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. It's like, or the five people around you closest to you, that's kind of you're the average of the five, right? There's all those sayings about it. It's super important. Um, so yeah, it's definitely changed drastically. I mean, when you're in kind of an office setting or in like a large company setting, you're going to be around a certain type of people. Now there's diversity within that, but there's still a common thread across those people. And it's not good or bad, it's just it is what it is. And then when you step out and you kind of become an entrepreneur and you're kind of, I don't know, internationally mobile and you're going to events and meeting people, you're going to meet a certain personality type in that space. Um, so for me, it's exciting. It's like the people that I meet typically are like, they're doing interesting things. They're doing interesting work. They have passion in their life. They're chasing something bigger than themselves. And not to beat up on like companies, I keep doing that. I love to do it actually, but there there's a sense of like I'm just kind of showing up. I'm just kind of doing what I need to do because I've got some good benefits and decent pay. And it's like, man, there's got to be more than that. So I like meeting people that are like-minded like me, and they want something a little bit more. Like they're not content with just like showing up and getting a paycheck. They want something a little bit more. So um yeah, the social circle has definitely changed. The clientele I meet has definitely changed. Um, and I recommend anyone to get out and just meet more people in general. Like you never know who you're gonna meet, who you're gonna shake hands with, and who you're gonna connect with.
That's right. I find what you say inspirational. I can personally relate to it. And just on a high note, give one piece of advice to anybody listening and reading.
I'll keep with the theme that we've been kind of moving on, and it's get out of your comfort zone, um, and challenge your own beliefs about the world and about yourself. I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do. Not to call out my own gender, but it seems that a lot of women these days, at least in the US here, they are challenging themselves and they are kind of getting out of their comfort zone, and they're doing a lot of the healing and the self-love, and they're doing a lot the self-care that we talked about. Some men are doing that, but I see it lacking in a lot of guys. And we could go into why that is, but in a nutshell, it's like I think a lot of men could definitely benefit, especially from like, hey, get out of your routine, like get out of your comfort zone. Um, like understand the triggers that you have. Let's say, for example, when you go to a social event, when you go to a party and you feel a little bit of anxiety, like be mindful of what your mind is telling you, because those are kind of the beliefs, deep down beliefs talking to you. So that's my biggest advice. It's like twofold: get out of your comfort zone. And once you're out of your comfort zone, listen to what your mind says, because you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And once you learn about yourself, you can kind of fix some of those things and correct some of those old patterns and programming. And once you fix all those things, you're bulletproof, because you can go do whatever you want. You believe in yourself. You're not held back by all these old beliefs that say, man, I'm not good enough. I'm not social. Man, I'm not brilliant. I'm not bright. Once you relinquish yourself from all that BS, I don't know if we can curse, but you're gonna you're gonna be on another level, and you're gonna be achieving things that you didn't think you could.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you so much, CT. Tell again, readers and listeners, how they can get in touch with you or how they can follow your journey.
See, I realized I was flying through the questions, flying through my answers. But no, so yeah, please do follow me, CT Dool on Instagram, CTAYDOOL. You can always go to the online community. It's the same name, ctdool.com. And then the other things we've got going on are the tea company. So that's Ox Brew Co. So super excited about that. And then, yeah, the book, like I said, it's kind of in the works. So I'll reveal that later. But yeah, for now, Instagram, go to the website, oxbrewco.com or ctdool.com.
Do you want to share the name of your book or not yet?
That's the thing. I don't even have a title selected. I've got a few in the works.
Okay.
But yeah,
next interview,
time.
book ready. How about that?
Exactly. Perfect.
Wishing you continued success, CT. Thanks so much for the inspirational interview.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria. Likewise to you, wishing you continued success. And yeah, thanks so much again for having me.
Can't get enough of those rebellious conversations? Do make sure you subscribe, like, and share with your friends.